Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Chairman Stewart. I would echo Commissioner Dwyer's sentiments regarding the secure rural schools at this point. And having coming from a manufacturing background with highs and lows with respect to sales, when we have high periods of sales, we tend to squirrel away money for those periods where we have a downturn. And in this particular instance, I see that we have a couple of projects here, Bob Straub, Bolton Hill, and Harvey Road, that we might be able to squirrel some of that money away for future use. I know these roads are very important to the communities, but at the same time, because of the uncertainty of the federal government to honor its century-old contract, we're being forced to do things that we'd probably not do in a normal day's business. So I would agree with Commissioners Green and Dwyer that the assisted housing roads, we should go ahead and honor the IGAs, but I'd be very reluctant to proceed on with the other 3 roads and try to save that money for a future.
Commissioner Dwyer.
Well, I would move that we would pick the option that funded the Bob Straub Parkway, and I say that because we talk about the government's commitment to us, how sacred it is, but the time and money that we've invested in our commitment to the cities and the communities, it doesn't mean anything.
I understand.
So I mean, sure, we have been on course. We've invested tens and tens of thousands of dollars and years in processes. It's not the time to quit now. And I say the next year we can quit, but I think what this will do for the economy of our community, of the integrity of the county and our partners, it will let them know that, look, we're willing to at least meet commitments that we have up to this point, and from here on out, the game is going to change depending upon what our partners do. But we're not going to abandon you, because we're not expecting the federal government to abandon us, and because they do, doesn't mean that we should.
Commissioner Planner.
I don't like letting my partners down either. We are a partner with the federal government. They are abandoning us. Circumstances have changed. We have to adapt. And I think it would be prudent for us to keep this money in reserve until we absolutely know the disposition of the secure rural school funds. I'm all for finishing these projects, but things have changed. Circumstances dictate a different course here.
Commissioner Green first.
Commissioner Dwyer, you made a motion, didn't you? Is there a
I
second?
thought I made a motion.
Okay, well then I'll second the motion then.
State the motion, please, Bill.
The motion was to meet our obligations in line number 1 in the yellow column as it relates to assisted housing for Westtown, Heather Glen, Prairie View, and the Bob Straub Parkway. Add back Bolton Hill and Harvey Road. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's my motion.
That's my second.
Commissioner Sorensen.
In the rest of the direction is that we'll take up the remainder of this during the budget session.
Right.
And I would also agree with Ollie that you don't necessarily at this point need to make all the reductions in 1 year. You can phase that in over time.
Right. And on Bolton and Harvey, those are projects that will go out to bid in the summer of 2008. We'll continue to work on those, but you can have another shot at those during the budget process also.
Okay. Commissioner Sorensen.
So, Mr. Snowden, I'm trying to kind of get an idea of what the percentage is here. We would be, as I understand, we have a beginning road fund on July 1, 07 of $34 million, and this motion proposes to spend, or at least direct a budget to show $6 million of that for the Bob Straub Parkway, and that's like 1/8 of the total road fund. Is that accurate?
Well, no. If Bob Straub Parkway is funded,
It says $6 million on
it
it.
says $6 million.
That's
So
the
if you
part.
want to do a sensitivity analysis, then go to the
Well, we're all guys up here, so we need sensitivity
Sensitivity, yeah.
analysis.
Poor choice of words.
Yeah.
Go to the second yellow column where it says beginning road fund balance, and now in fiscal 0809 it says 18.2.
Uh-huh.
If you're going to fund Bob Straw Parkway, you knock 6 million off that. If you're going to fund assisted housing, there's another 600,000 off that $18 million total. So that just changes, that ripples on through in 0809.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, I agree we should fund the housing projects in the FY 0708 budget, but I'm having a hard time committing to $6 million on the Bob Straub, knowing that we would be starting the fiscal year with $34 million.
Commissioner Flainer, Dwyer, and Sorensen?
What is the driver behind this? You talk about if we waited 1 year, the cost of asphalt might be up another 10%.
The driver behind the urgency to go to construction?
This summer,
or
yes.
Or the road itself?
Well, the urgency to go to construction this year versus next year.
I think that's the big one. I mean, like I said, it's been a project that's been 9-10 years in the making. The permits are finally lining up, and to lose another construction season, I mean, if history's our guide, will mean higher construction costs next year.
So by analogy, if I lost my job but I want a Maserati today, I'd better buy one today because next year they're going to be a little more expensive.
Well, if you can afford them, I don't know if you can afford the Maseratis.
The way I visualize this is we have a two-person income for a household. One of the people get laid off. Our lifestyle has to change. This budget number 2 is a lifestyle change, but yet we're not changing our lifestyle. We're continuing to spend money even though we don't have the two-person income in the household. So this is what I'm concerned about.
Budget number 2 does change, not just in terms of service reduction, but there's other projects on the adopted capital improvement program that aren't going to be built under budget number 2.
Commissioner Dwyer?
Well, I want to wrap this thing up. Let me say that it's a poor analogy. Somebody could consider, Maserati was a really poor analogy. The analogy would be that if I had signed a contract and I gave my word that something would happen, if I lost my job or not, I'd still be bound by the contract, because the expectations of the community, of our strategic plan, and of the economic benefit to the county as a whole from that project far outweigh the narrower subject. So on that basis, now, I'd love to be able to get the money back from Barnard Heights.
I would too.
But it's gone. So, but I was a no on Barnard Heights.
Which I accept.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Sorensen?
I'll just say it again. I think we ought to make sure that we have a higher confidence level that we have this 34 million coming in, and that we will have the federal money before we sign this IGA.
Well,
And I want to just say one more time that doesn't mean I'm against the project, because I voted for it before.
Okay. Seeing no further discussion, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right.